He'll hold for you.
Okay. I see something unique for Wildomar. In being unique, we can be an example for other cities, and we can draw all kinds to us. We have already started a cultural park, which will have something for all ages, which will have the environment everybody's talking about, a place where people can enjoy it, can learn from it, can be educated by it. Science, there are now what they call safe labs to do experiments in, where some young people who are interested in science who come there and learn from professors who come in and talk about it. Or we have exhibits for it. In our performing arts, also again, something to enjoy, something to learn, something to do. Craft and the arts, the other arts, the creative arts, the same thing. We also are going to have a city, an old city, which preserves our history here, which is very extensive. And again, it's enjoying and learning and doing. We are having an education system. We're talking about education, all ages. And we have a center there. What is missing in our education? What do we need to learn? What if someone, like an older person, wants to take a class? Come to us in this education center and say, this is what we'd like here. But it would be in one place, and it would be something we would attract others in, and it would bring business in. It'll be self-sustaining. We've already looking at bids for land that will be donated, so it's already started. And we'd like to see it grow, and that's what makes the city grow, and everything we're hearing is there.
We get that down? Got it? Okay. Edie?
I would like to suggest a museum to preserve our historic items and to educate people on the history of the area.
Okay. Gina? Come back here.
One thing that's on your PowerPoint that hasn't been brought up today is districting, whether we want to be one Wildomar or separate Wildomar into pieces. My opinion is we've always been a united community, and we need to stay united, and this is going to be coming in front of us very quickly. So something needs to be addressed.
She brings up a really important point that we should spend a few minutes on, but let's go ahead and take this over here, and then we'll talk a little about districting. There's a couple topics we need to still cover this morning.
I just want to expound on what Nancy's saying about education and collaborating between community centers and having options in education, starting with primary. Right now we're affiliated with Lake Elsinore Unified, but there are options to have us be our own district, which would take many, many years. However, to also be a district within our own district, we need options in education so that primary level students and high school students all the way through, before they go off after high school and their exits, have the option to have the sciences and the arts and be involved in the culture and the community that we have. Our demographic is a little bit different now, where we're urban yet modern, we're rural yet we're culturally diverse, and we need to integrate that into our schools as well. We are missing science, we are missing arts, we need to see education expand on these, and I think being that we are now a new city, we need to make sure that our educational system here in this city is attractive, so that people come into our system knowing that we are still affiliated with Lake Elsinore. However, schools in this city are more attractive, therefore increasing the attractiveness of our city as well.
Okay.
And that's one of the downturns of our area.
Okay. We'll have a microphone runner go, we'll go there and then to Cami. Before we do, yeah. Oh, I'm told we have 10 minutes left here, so we got to go really quickly here. And after we hear these speakers, I do want you to think about, does everybody understand what districting is? When the city was formed, LAFCO said, you shall break the city up into 5 separate and distinct districts.
The voters said.
The voters said that, right. They are required to put that on. So one of the things is very shortly is that we're going to start undertaking a process by law that this town will be split into 5 distinct districts, which means is that and it's unclear as to whether the city council will be elected by or from districts. In one of the cases, they simply have to live within that district, and the whole town votes on it. Or in the other case, they not only have to live in that district, but they're only voted on by the people who reside in that district as well. And you have to think and decide among yourselves, and maybe spend a few minutes talking about it, whether or not districting is a good thing or a bad thing for the city. So with that, let's go 1 and 2.
Yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys a little perspective from a developer standpoint. I'm hearing a lot of talk about the mountains and rural areas out here, and it's all great. And I actually, I was born in Temecula, so I love the rural community that it is out here. One of the things that we need to think about is that the commercial and the industrial bases that support the city are vital. All of the trails, all of the rural lifestyle, all of the rural atmosphere cannot happen without the tax base of the commercial and industrial, because you'd have some horrendous property taxes if you tried to have a rural area out here without the commercial and the industrial. One of the things that I'm hearing a lot about as well is some sort of design guidelines. We've got some really well-developing commercial and industrial spaces out here right now. The Clinton Keith corridor, both for commercial and industrial. You have Old Town Wildomar here. These are areas that deserve some guidelines. And the general plan didn't get here just on its own. It was a bunch of volunteers that did it. And I think what we need to do is ask the City Council to go ahead and start developing and putting together different volunteer groups that can go ahead and get together and put together these policies and design guidelines, for this commercial area around Clinton Keith, for the light industrial area out there, for Old Town Wildomar. The city can't afford right now to do it on its own. They can't afford to take the time to write all these policies. But if the city's residents get together and actually help them and put it together to where they can take all the ideas and everything and actually write it into policy that can actually be put into effect, it would greatly help developers like myself, which actually we don't build anything, but we represent many different developers and most of the larger commercial and industrial developments going on in the city right now. And it would be a benefit to us to know that, okay, these are what the design guidelines look like, and this is what the architecture is supposed to look like, because it helps us up front to be able to design something that's going to look good for your city. I know for a fact right now that along the Clinton Keith corridor, the county of Riverside was relaxed with that. And it just so happens that there's some mishmash of architecture out there that does not fit right. And it's just because the county of Riverside didn't care exactly, to have something cohesive going through. But there's still a lot of vacant land out there, and it's the time for the citizens to step up and help the city to make it what it's supposed to be. And on developing the commercial and the industrial, the city really needs to step up and start, taking a real proactive stance with county transportation, with RCDC, with WRCOG, and especially with Caltrans. And you can take some notes from the city of Marietta as to how to treat Caltrans and how to work with them, and not look at how the city of Temecula has done it and kind of alienated Caltrans and having difficulty with it. So you've got 3 off-ramps here. They're all major traffic nightmares at this point in time. Commercial industrial is not going to come unless you can get the traffic on and off the freeway and get it flowing.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Well, Ken,